pen somewhere?
Hmm?
I had a pen.
It was right here last time I saw it.
Annoying. Oh my goodness, perfect timing.
Perfect? Yay!
I am just now going on my break.
Okay.
How about that? And I actually have a folder for you because I'll have some goodies for you to check out.
Oh, you already set up a meeting space.
All right. So, I have some real goodies for you.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. So, like I said, I just need some like validation that I'm just going in the right area.
Okay, and tell me what you want to do.
What I want to do is I want to be able to understand how to apply, like how to crystallize this, so that we're doing it right. But I know that if we can get you to come in, that you'll be able to do more. But I just want to try to get an understanding of what it actually is that you do. And I want to make sure that like I'm on the same page as you are. I'm starving. Let me see here. So what I've done was I've taken some of the research and I've kind of printed out the main things. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. So what I've done is like, I don't know if I should use the highlighter, but like that's the paper that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. And right here, I think it's that second sentence. I just remembered something.
Okay, so you're thinking about like talking to your principal and doing anti-racist work at your school. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes.
Okay, and you're wondering about what the entry point is for that.
The entry point.
No, I'm asking you this.
Well, yes, that. But I mean, we can't. I don't know if I want to name it anti-racism, because I don't want like to put anyone on like high alert or anything. Mm-hmm. So how like that I'm sorry, I have like hands now.
Oh,
you might want to take.
May I?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I know this one.
And so the reason why I should have highlighted what I wanted there, but that right there. So it's called Gloria Ladson Billings edited that. And so those were just the tenets that I talked about earlier, mm-hmm. that I pulled out of Delgado's book. Mm-hmm. I feel like a slob. So like,
okay.
because Delgado's point is right there. Critical race theorists may like differ on many things, but those are the things that unify.
So I think what might happen if I think you're absolutely right about like not using the term critical race theory, but
yeah,
because that's going to be a turn off, or in terms of getting people to sit down and listen, that will close off ears, because so many people have heard it now and it has been linked. Whatever they're saying on TV is not what it is.
Right.
I haven't heard it really defined appropriately. But it's going to begin with your school leadership team before it can go on to your school staff.
Okay.
Because your school leadership team, your assistant principal, your academic coaches, your principal, those are the people who are going to have to really set the tone for the school in terms of ensuring that this is something that doesn't fall off, so that when we start having these conversations about equity in July or August, that they don't drop off in November because there's pushback. Your school leadership team has to be a strong team who will say, we are doing this work. We're going to meet for this. This is going to be something that's ongoing, and it's going to be messy, and it's going to cause us to confront some things and beliefs that we feel more comfortable not addressing.
Right.
But your leadership team has to engage in this work before the rest of the team, because they have some confronting to do as well.
Okay.
Tell me about your leadership team so far.
We just got a new principal, assistant principal. I don't know much about him other than the fact that he was at airport for a while. He was at Meadow Glen Middle School for a couple years.
Oh, what's his name?
Daniel Bailey.
Oh, so Meadow Glen Middle and Meadow Glen Elementary have worked with EL education as well.
The what kind of education?
EL education. They use a curriculum.
What's that? What's EL?
It's called Expeditionary Learning, and it's the curriculum that So, my organization works with Meadow Glen Middle. My organization has worked with Meadow Glen Elementary, River Bluff, Lexington Middle, which is now Lakeside.
Mm-hmm.
So the leadership teams at the schools that I just named are familiar, they currently work with my organization.
Okay.
So.
And that organization is?
EL.
Okay.
Education. I'll write it down. Let me get a pen.
I got like two right here.
Oh, want me to grab it out of your pocket? Okay.
Stealth.
I'll write it. I'll write it on here.
But how are you incorporating critical theory to EL? Is it like, because what I have here is basically what it's countering the mainstream narrative of history, culture, terms that would otherwise be overlooked or ignored and not confronted, like you just said. Mm-hmm. And how would you apply that critical inquiry to what you're doing now with Lakeside? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what I do with Lakeside, okay, so this is really academic.
Yeah.
And I can talk about this in academic terms.
Yeah.
But once you start to apply it, you probably use far less of these terms. So, for example, culturally relevant pedagogy. Academically, that's the term, culturally relevant pedagogy. But when we start walking into school doors, we spend less time calling it that and more like respecting students' cultures or bringing the culture into the classroom and honoring and respecting it. So that's probably how we make connections between the academic theory and practice. When you want to...
Can you go to that page where it has like, keep going, it has like the Glory Lesson book, yeah, can you?
This one?
Yeah, check out that paragraph and let me know if that's accurate what we're doing.
Yeah, so the tenets of critical race theory are this. race is a social construction. Race is endemic. It's actually normal.
Right,
Interest
right.
convergence, which is the understanding that advancement
Civil rights.
in
or-
civil rights and race relations only come when it benefits
The mainstream.
people.
The white people.
and only when it. So
Say that again. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no. So do you mind if I write on this?
No. Okay.
So advancements in race relations or for people of color only, and this is not academic writing, but only come when it benefits.
I really don't like this seat because I feel like I'm
You're sinking.
sinking.
Sinking in there. So this is considered, according to critical race theory, this is the tenet of counter narratives. So counter narratives, I wouldn't say slave narratives. Let's say counter narratives. Counter narratives is this idea that so you're reading the United States Constitution. Every time you read the Constitution, you're going to read a counter narrative that is by some person of color, and they will give you their experience. They will share their stories. So counter narratives are stories by people of color, and they do just that. They counter exactly what something says. So critical race theory is usually like law and legislation. So the law might say all men are created equal, and all men in this, all people in this country over the age of 18 have a right to vote, right? That's the law. My counter narrative would say, as someone who lives in Atlanta, my governor is making it harder to vote by taking away. Governor Kemp is removing voting locations very broadly in areas that he knows are predominantly black. So if you reduce the number of voting locations, you frustrate black voters, and they will not turn out for the vote. So that's what he's doing. He's purposely going into black communities and removing voting centers. So the law says that anybody can vote, but Kemp is removing voter
The means for voting.
the means to vote, so that people who really just need to go across the street and vote really quick and get back to work. But if you remove that voting center and now you've placed it in East Columbia, I can't just run out and vote anymore. So that's a counter narrative. And so for every law, there's a counter narrative, but no one wants to hear the counter narrative.
And are you supplying those counter narratives in?
As a person of color, everyone has a counter narrative.
Yes. Are you supplying those for Lakeside?
No. So the work at Lakeside, so the person who's actually doing a lot of this work are members of my team. But EL Education does this work for these schools. So I wouldn't say that we are. Right now, I'm giving you an explanation for what it looks like.
This is.
For what this looks like.
Okay.
So this is not. I would not start here with a leadership team. With the leadership team, I would first start with an assessment of what are your beliefs about the state of affairs in this country. Like, what do you think? Tell me about your privilege. Do you enjoy any privileges? What parts of your identity are privileged? So I would ask that to you, Adam. What parts of your identity are privileged?
White male, heterosexual.
Do you think that your peers would say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a lot of your peers would say that.
Not all of
A
them.
lot of your peers would say, I don't enjoy any privilege. And so it's important for people like you to name that, to say,
Yeah.
these are my privileges, and to actually show your experiences of how, as a white male, maybe were you born into a Christian home?
No, Muslim family.
Muslim family?
Mhm.
Okay, so as a white male, here are some of the privileges that I enjoy that a counterpart who has a different racial identity or a different gender or different sex has. But it starts with that kind of conversation
Okay.
before because this is really heavy stuff for people who, as soon as they see this, they're turned off.
Yeah, like what we're doing, like a lot of my colleagues, my cohorts at USC, they would call, instead of critical race theory, it would be like culturally relevant teaching, culturally responsive teaching. Are you like? Would we?
Okay, so the thing is, CRT is an acronym for both those things. It's two different things, though.
Two different things, yeah.
Yeah, so critical race theory, also culturally relevant teaching, but they're two different things.
Yeah. They're two different audiences.
Mm-hmm. Because, so critical race is all about law
Yep.
and legislation.
And inequities.
Mm-hmm.
Inequities. No
So
inequities.
inequities in law,
Yep.
in law and legislation, but culturally relevant. Spelled that wrong. Culturally relevant teaching, which is also CRT, is about
Same acronym but different.
Yeah, is more about instruction.
Pedagogy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, that instruction that I want to say sees and appreciates and respects the cultures, the non-mainstream culture
Right.
of students. So they're two different things.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would agree with everything you just said.
So
What's going on at Lakeside? Like how, like diversity, equity, and inclusion. How is it you and your team? Like what are y'all doing
well,
specifically?
right now we are working on a curriculum, but the curriculum, it is really about, it's inclusive of culturally relevant teaching.
Yes.
And so some of the topics that we explore are going to be topics that that kind of go against mainstream teaching.
Is that a counter storytelling, counter narratives?
Yes, it would be a counter narrative to some of the mainstream beliefs.
Okay.
So, for example, some of the texts that the students might read.
Just so I understand this, like critical race theory teaches counter narratives, and that's what you're using, right?
In the curriculum, yes, there are counter narratives.
Yes.
So, for example, but let me rewind. Yes, it's in the curriculum. Counter narratives are in the curriculum, but also there are opportunities for the teacher to really let it live. It depends on what kind of teacher you are. If you are a teacher who celebrates diverse cultures,
Yeah.
then you would be open to that.
Like
But
non-traditional
yes.
family structures,
Exactly.
trans families,
Exactly.
homosexual families, like gay, lesbian families, yeah.
If you can appreciate those different cultures
And celebrate them.
them, then you would be open to this, and you would be open to the curriculum because you're going to see people of different races, you're going to see people of different genders, you're going to see people of different religions, and that has to be celebrated because they're part of the curriculum.
Different genders, as in like more non-binary.
Yes.
So like, what the type of books would y'all like? Literally, like the works. Is it just here's a writing exercise, or here's a book? I mean, what? So what would y'all be doing?
Well, some of the conversations that you might have in your class, you would be more open to reading books that that are inclusive of various families. So the books might not be, and this is in no way saying, when I read this book, I want you as a child to grow up and be homosexual. That's not what this book is saying.
No, it's about getting them exposed to that
it's
so that
exposed
they can
to-
appreciate it and not.
Yes, it's exposed to these. There are different family structures, and you should know that this kind of family structure is families are about loving their family members.
Right.
This is a family structure that loves their family. This is a different family structure. That's it. It's not pushing it down someone's throat. It's not saying this is what you should be. It's just recognizing that, hey, this is a family structure that's non-traditional. You all probably, it might not look like your family,
Right.
but it is a family,
Right.
period. That's it.
What books are y'all using, or what articles are you? Is it articles? Is it books?
So
Videos?
probably not. Do we have any videos? Our books, the books that we use are primarily, I'd have to look through them. I don't have any off the top of my head.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a lot from various perspectives.
Okay.
Various perspectives.
So is it a particular grade that
It's K through 8.
K through 8? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm working with 6-8 right now. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Now the teachers, right? The teachers
I'm working with teachers right
for
now.
this curriculum,
Yes.
for EL curriculum. Okay. So if we get you in, because they're leaning towards Stovall.
So you don't have to talk about me. Just talk about EL. Because EL will come. They know EL in this district. It's at a number of schools.
And that's your organization.
It's
Like
not like I work for the organization.
okay.
Yeah.
But they send you out because you know the stuff.
Yeah.
You're in leadership though, right?
What-
They're sending you to hotels. So, I mean,
I wouldn't say I'm in leadership. I work with school leadership teams to help improve schools. So, yeah.
and improving them based on what we just talked about.
Yes, and providing curriculum support. So we look at a number of data points around equity.
Yeah. So like this, I think the second sentence, I don't want to touch anything. That second sentence, Gloria Ladson Billings says that she wants to introduce an education that is analogous to the critical race theory as in legal studies. That's in tune with what you just told me, correct?
Let me see. Race continues to be significant in the U.S. Check. U.S. is based on property rights rather than human rights. It's a capitalist society. Check. The intersection of race and property creates an analytical tool for understanding inequity.
Oh, the sentence above that. I think it's the second. I thought it was the second sentence.
The article argues for a critical race theoretical perspective in education analogous to that of critical race theory in legal scholarship by developing 3 propositions.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, yeah. Yeah, so she wants the critical race theory to underscore education, yes. I would not take that sentence to the district. I would find a way around it.
She wrote this in '94.
Yeah, this is an old article.
So the other pieces that I just wrote, she's more subtle.
Well, the thing is, back in '94, we knew that this wasn't going to happen. Now we realize in 2022, like, you have some people who are willing to be allies, and you have some people who are willing to be co-conspirators. So, sounds like you're willing to be a co-conspirator.
What's a co-conspirator?
An ally is someone who says, yeah, that's right. I think that this is something that this would benefit our students. It would benefit everyone. Let me know if you need any help with that, right? That's an ally. A co-conspirator is, I'm willing to do this work in my classroom, even if I get in trouble, and have conversations. Because I'm pretty sure the governor of this state has already made some declarations around what, he hasn't?
No, there was a proviso last year saying that race cannot be instrumental in the conversations
Right.
for K through 12. That was not the governor. That was the proviso. That expired in June. It was only for the 21-22 school year.
Okay. So what is it, when is your election for governor?
It was this year.
Is it coming up?
Yeah, November.
November? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, Joe
Who's the Democrat who's running?
Joe Cunningham.
Joe Cunningham, that's the name. I've actually seen his commercials in Atlanta.
Yeah, Joe Cunningham. And
Is he
Tim
gaining
Scott.
any traction?
Yeah.
Tim Scott, the senator, is running for governor?
No, Tim Scott is also being, there's a Democrat, I forgot her name, that she's running against him too.
She's running against Tim Scott?
Absolutely.
Good. Tim Scott's not an ally.
Yeah, he's a conspirator for the other side.
Yeah, he's definitely.
So what exactly, what do you want to do what is your vision for the Lakeside ELA? Like what, those students that need to understand other families, other perspectives, and they need to be awakened to a different type of consciousness.
My passion lies around equity in any form or fashion, and providing a space where all people, particularly people of color, people who who have an identity that is not mainstream, that does not enjoy privilege, to be able to thrive and be successful. That's where my passion lies. Where can I, as a person who does not identify with any of the identities that that enjoy privilege, where can I thrive and be successful? That's it. Sometimes classrooms are not spaces where LGBTQIA children feel safe. Sometimes classrooms are not places where Muslim children feel safe. Sometimes classrooms are not spaces where children of color, particularly Latinx or Black children or Native American children, feel safe. I just want to change it to safe spaces.
Right. You want, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's admirable.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I may have to be getting up there.